Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Afran Sarkar and today we have a truly exceptional guest with us. In a world where AI is reshaping everything from how we work to how we communicate, one question keeps coming up. How can humans and AI work together effectively? Not replacing each other but truly collaborating. To explore this, I'm honored to welcome Dr. Neeli Prasad. Dr. Prasad is the CEO and co-founder of SmartAvatar, based in Netherlands and America. She is a globally recognized expert in AI and cybersecurity, with over 25 years of experience spanning both academia and industry. She is a former professor at Aarhus University and IEEE leader and has published over 200 papers on sustainable technology and innovation. Her work is shaping how we think about the future of human AI collaboration, cybersecurity, and even the metaverse. So, Dr. Prasad, welcome to the show. It's wonderful to have you here.
Thank you very much. It's also very nice to be here. I it's great, and I'm looking forward to all the discussions we are going to have.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. I know our listeners are excited to hear your insights. So let's dive right in. So, Dr. Prasad, my first question start with the vision. Let's start with the big picture. When you think about humans and AI working together, not AI replacing humans, but truly collaborating, what excites you the most? What's the vision you are building towards?
Wow, that is a great question. Future. I would say what is now also. Uh, I keep talking about it a lot in my presentation and discussions when I go in different meetings and lectures. Human AI at this moment, if you see some of the solutions of AI, we have a lot of cyberbullying and disinformation because of AI, which has been generating and lot of what do you call it, fraud, deep fake fraud in financial world. We have already seen a lot of news happening like that. So basically, when I hear those news, I see human and AI has to collaborate together. It has to work together where, empathy has to come in. Uh, Ethical issues have to come in. So some of those information which I see and gets me excited, how I can bring in and how it can work together. So, I
Okay.
hope that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now let's talk about the reality of the collaborations. So, from your experience and throughout your career, what's one surprising thing you have learned about how humans and AI actually work together in real life?
Oh, wow. I have learned. I can give one example which comes very quickly in my mind. Is a chatbot. Uh, I assume a lot of us have used, and our listeners. So we always, when something happens, something goes wrong, or our flight tickets we have to buy, we go and ask this chat on the side, and it starts with a bot there. How many of us gets irritated? I get very frustrated when the questions come and then it's just fixed questions. There's like we have to wait for some human and then it takes time for us to do it. But imagine if that chatbot was, human-like co-pilot inside that tool. It would make our life much easier. So that is one of the real practical example. And if you look from Smart Avatar side, from my own company side, I always say we work with a cool AI where we have, everything inside it, and it has trust and a workflow together to make sure that it is a human-like co-pilot tool. That is one of the very practical example I could come up with was a chatbot.
Okay, okay. And let's say 5 years from now, what skills should people be learning to work effectively with AI? What should students focus on? What about professionals already in the workforce? I mean, what's your thought about it?
Mhm. Professionals understanding. Okay, I could start with, got a question. The person who had invited me has a child, about 6-year-old, and if you see a lot of these parents, they use uh, iPads or smartphone devices, smartphones, laptops as a babysitter, and the children know how to use it. They know how to already, do small programming and start their own companies. My nephew already, who's 11, love to do these things. So the question was basically, how can we stop children to do it, or go into using AI, or how to go online now? My thing is that when I was growing up, internet was supposed to, be a bad thing. A lot of people told my parents, your daughter will go into a bad, if she's using internet. Well, I don't think we turned out bad, did we? Gray hairs, got good education. We didn't go bad, and internet is still there. So AI is still there to be. So what the parents need to do is to teach the kids how to ask sharper questions, be precise, be clear in what we are talking about. Okay. And how to verify our sources. So it's not just the children, the young children we are talking about, but also children, university kids, the next generation, as we call them, the next generation engineers, doctors, policymakers, whoever they are coming out. Verify your sources. Don't take it as you get it, and build things, understand what it is, because AI will make content cheap. But differentiator will be the taste and the judgment and the ability to how to make it work together. So how do I make it, understand? So understand the verify your content, verify your sources, sharper questions, not just why, and we answer because, or there's in Dutch we always say it waarom when the child asks, and we always as a parent answer daarom. It's like why and that's why, or because. That's literally translating from Dutch to English. So we don't want to do that. So those are, the basic things of understanding. But of course, we can always go back and say they are framing and constraints, their evaluation, system thinking for people who are getting into the technology area.
Ah, okay. I mean, those are incredibly practical insights. So,
Yes, like evaluation. When I talk, then I say, benchmarking, edge cases, use cases. Human review is very important. Whatever you make, any app, any software using AI, you need to have it verified by a human.
true. That's true. And now let me ask you something philosophical. So, what do you think uh, can AI never replace, no matter how advanced it gets? What will always remain uniquely human? I mean, what do you think about that?
Well, what, doesn't matter how we get, it's like internet, AI is there, it will stay, it is part of our life. And what is very humane in it is empathy.
Okay.
We need to put empathy, ethics, you know, how, uh, who owns it? AI will not do that. It is, is the human who takes ownership to it. So you need to have ethics, law, policy making. So, and then, all this guardrails in place. So those are the humanizing of AI, as you could call it. The first thing, when you ask me this question, the first thing pops into my mind is empathy.
Yeah.
And as
Okay.
I gave you the
Okay.
example, chatbot, I can make it human-like, but I cannot make it a human. If I am stuck in at some airport, I'll just give you example. When it was heavy snow in Netherlands, and a lot of people were stranded at Amsterdam airport. The system could help you buy a new ticket, get a new hotel room there, but you are frustrated, you are tired. Who are you looking for? You're looking for a genuine smile. That is empathy. And AI cannot replace that. AI can do everything, but it cannot replace empathy. So focusing on the user needs, societal well-being, those kind of things, like trust we have, those cannot
Yeah,
be replaced by AI.
that's true. Thank you. Thank you once again for your answer. So, again, if I mean, we are actually very close to the end. I mean, I just want to ask you a last question. So, drawing from your extensive work in AI, cybersecurity, and the metaverse, and as a leader yourself, what's one piece of advice you'd like to give leaders today to foster truly inclusive human and AI collaboration? How can they make sure this technological revolution benefits everyone, not just a few?
So the biggest advice: build a human AI collaboration like yourself.
Okay.
It should be a product, not like you buy a tool. And it should have a high value workflow. Design the guardrails around it properly, and define who's accountable, who is accountable, and what is the measure outcome. And finally, of course, what is the goes back and feeding back and coming back again. If something goes wrong, how can there be a feedback loop for that? So that is for the leaders. That is very important. That's at least my personal opinion, advice to all the leaders, young leaders, or my age also.
Ah, okay. Thank you again. So, this conversation has been absolutely fascinating. Before we wrap up, I want to ask, where can our listeners learn more about your work at Smart Avatar? And if someone wants to connect with you or follow your research, where should they go?
um, Ping me on LinkedIn. Neeli Prasad on LinkedIn, and I always respond to everyone. Or find me on IEEE website, and we can figure out what to do together.
Okay. I'll make sure to include all those links in our um, video description so viewers can check them anytime. I mean, if they want to check. And Dr. Neeli Prasad, I heard about some of your company products like AI medical mixer, AI job mixer, Bandit. So you want to share something from your current experience? I mean, about those products.
As I would say, now I'm putting my CEO hat. Download it,
Okay.
try it out,
Okay.
and come back with comments and give me a human review about it. AI job mixer, as I would start with, as the name says, to help you find good job, land a good job, uh, help you with resumes, then AI legal mixer, translate all the legal paper, which we don't understand, words of the law, and they help you. Medical, personal user of it. I love the tool. I love the app. I drive my doctor crazy with it. It helps me with my wellness. But also when I visit my doctor, I have the questions ready because when I'm in Netherlands, the doctors give me only 7 to 10 minutes for the visit.
Okay.
And if I don't understand my own issues, how do I ask the doctor those questions? Because after 10 minutes, 7 minutes, I'm out of the office and he has just given me a medicine which doesn't make sense. And I go to pick that medicine up, and then it's like, okay, I'm already taking these. Can I use these also? What is the after effect? And then you're doing all these searches. So why not prepare yourself beforehand and throw the questions at him or her, saying, okay, what is the problem?
Yeah.
So AI medical mixer, those apps are amazing. So I would say use it.
All
That's
of
my
them are
personal.
free. All of them are free too.
Yes, it's as I said, for the society. We provide it for the society.
Wow, that's
Like
that's
at this moment, you never know how I can start thinking. No, that's a side. That's a piece. You know, that's a joke. So AI medical mixer is available for everyone to use it, and of course we follow the law also. You know,
okay.
please go to the doctor when
Yeah,
you.
yeah, okay. I'm personally also using a medical mixer, and I mean, as you said that when we reach to doctors for our issues and they don't give us time, just uh, they gave some medicines, and we also don't know when to. I mean, why we should take this one. So I think for those scenarios, as you mentioned, yeah, medical mixer will help us a lot. And is there have anything else that we should know? I mean, maybe this could be helpful for viewers. Any more features available
Well, you know,
in the in
as I said, wellness, exercise, I am a lazy person. I don't like doing exercises. So it does help me a bit by saying, okay, now I should move a bit. So those are things. But then also, when you're eating something and you have on the plate, it with the camera on, you can also see what you're eating and how much, carb or uh, protein, whatever it is, all the nutritions you're taking. It does give you that also information. So there are many part in the app itself. So it's not just when you go to the doctor, but it's also other information
Mhm.
you get from this app.
Okay. Yeah. And what do you think about the information accuracy? I mean, because as it's very sensitive, it's for health, so the informations also should be accurate. I mean, you want to say something about this because I think maybe everyone will be think about it. Like, suppose I'm uploading a photo and it's giving me an analysis about the photo, but the sources of the data. I mean, what is the sources of the data or the correctness of the data?
So as we all already say, AI, the more you feed information, the more accurate the information will be. So the more user we get, the more accurate information we start generating on it. So at this moment, when I say with the doctor information and my medication and health information, I would say it was very accurate. I did that for myself. I did that for my daughter, and we both had the information which we fed it, and the answers we got, and the questions we got to ask the doctor was very accurate. So either the data which was coming, being pulled from all over the places to give us those information exists already. So that was very easy for us. But as I said, again, the more user we get, the more information, the more we are teaching it. So more we teach it, the more we get accurate information. I hope
Okay.
that makes sense also with AI,
That,
making it
oh,
smarter, making it smarter.
yeah, I know you are very busy and it was very difficult for you to manage the time. So I want to
And
thank you.
time difference, all over the world we sit and we work. So it's not always easy to make appointments. So everyone is busy in their own life. So we shouldn't find that as an excuse. But as a last statement, I would say is human dignity in the AI age. That is very important. And we should keep that in mind because we are putting so much data out in there and it can be used by anyone. So I don't want to make everyone scared by saying that as a last statement, but to keep in mind, whoever is using AI, whoever is building things using AI, human dignity. And
Great.
that's something we should keep in mind.